Welcome to Center of Light. Tonight we're going to be speaking about scripture all the way to politics. And who are we in between all of that? Tonight on Center of Light. Are demons from the past aliens of the present? Center of Light Foundation. See you shortly.
I got one that can see.
My apology that it took so long to get to the presentation. I'm grateful to MJ of the IRN Exception Radio Network Nation for allowing me back into their powerful, plentiful viewership platform. I was having difficulty, so I had to end it on YouTube. Shucks. It is what it is. Moving forward. The question I am going to pose right out of the gate. Let's not be late for this party. Is humanity the earth? Are we being invaded? by an extraterrestrial race. No, let's call it an alien race, not extraterrestrial. We'll keep it as alien. Or at least an extraterrestrial or alien consciousness. Pretty simple, powerful, puts us in our place kind of question. What do you think? Hello, Rena. Trying to get my chats to work, but we're going to keep moving forward. Rena, Robert, Dana, KK, James Whitkus. I got some wicked weather coming my way. Speaking of darkness, my brother, you're going to be fine, sir. The Lord has many plans for you. Tonight is Center of Light Foundation visibility. They live. Who are the they? All the way from scripture to present day political. And who are we between all of the nonsense as we move towards our future? Pretty big question. Easy question. Francis Xavier, what's up, my brother? Leaves a lot open. What's happening? Are you influenced by the alien race or alien consciousness? You are. We all are. We bought into the lies, we bought into the drama, we bought into Big Daddy, and we bought into Fat Mama. We bought it all, hook, line, and sinker. And now we're a bunch of stinkers trying to pop up like corks on the water and the surface tensions. Tension, surface, everything is being brought to the surface, and there's a lot of tension. Hello, Cindy. So, what do we do with this? What is it really? I will tell you this. Back in the days of yore, through folklore, demons needs to be updated. Because it has a tone, a connotation, an old world tongue that's been slung out there for so long. We bit our own tongue, and now we're left with a bloody mouth. Are demons from the past aliens of the now? And where are we going in the future? So we have to understand everything in between both slices of bread. So we can finally be the meat. So we can meet the two together and see whether or not what is happening is prophetic, apocalyptic. It is. It's happening right here, right now in front of us. Notice my background. It's about the universe, stars. This ain't your first rodeo, cowboy or cowgirl. Visibility. They live. Obey, consume, you better not do this. This is all violations of the First Amendment of the Constitution. And the Fourth Amendment as well, and many others. You know who they're coming after? They don't give a shit about you. They want your children. They want your children. How do you invade a planetary system? How do you invade a planet? How? You don't show up blasting in the skies. That will do the opposite of what they want to have happen. The last thing they want is a world to unite, to fight back with nukes and blow them out of the skies. They don't want that. So what do? What is their greatest weapon? They pit everyone against each other and sit back in their greed, control, selfishness, hatefulness, evilness. And here's the kicker. It's entertainment to them. because they live a whole lot longer than we do. We're talking thousands of years. And they bring thousands of tears. So they put us against each other and we destroy ourselves. You can't, since they're not visibility, you don't know who to sling the arrows at except each other. Pretty horrible, isn't it? But it is factual and it is happening. From scripture, they call them demons. Present day, they're called aliens. What is the word alien? That which is not of. If we can all agree that the earth was created with an intention for the unification of humanity. If earth was created by the divine for humanity to be unified, to become the prophecy of heaven, that which is up metaphorically, Jesus Christ, Buddha, Krishna, everything that's beautiful, powerful, important, forever sustaining, life-giving, all that beautiful fountain of youth, wealth, knowledge, information, and power kind of thing. Anything that bucks the current is foreign. It's alien to what the design of this planet actually was intended to be. End of story. So now that we can see this painted on this palette, on this canvas by using this color, it changes the old world paradigm of fear that when you go to sleep, or rather, more so when you wake up. I got one that can see is their greatest nightmare. When we wake up, they go to sleep. When we go to sleep, they're active, ever so active, and present in your life. Tonight is center light visibility. They live, and I tell you, they are everywhere. And they look just like you and me, because they are you and me. We all have been drunken on the alcohol of horseshit. Again, thank you, Dr. Katie Camara. I don't have the link. I do have it right here, actually. I was so looking forward to being on YouTube with Inception Radio Network, but that will be tomorrow. I will do an upload. Thank you, Dr. Katie Camara, for creating this fundraiser for Center of Light. Thank you, everyone. Hello, Donna. Melinda. All right, we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get right down to some beeswaxes. Let me see where I'm at. All right, now I understand what's going on. Look at my notes, and we're going to get right down to some meat and potatoes. If we are I'll get back to that again, though I read that. From the poet, spiritual avatar, Rumi. The angel, when I said earlier, hello, Jeanette. When I said earlier, from scripture to politics, are demons from the past, aliens of the present. And who are we in between all the nonsense as we're trying to motion toward our future? From Rumi, the angel, you're the angel. Well, you are, but let me see what it says in this context. The angel is free because of his knowledge, the beast because of his ignorance. Between the two remains the Son of Man to struggle. Are we being invaded by an alien race or consciousness? If you believe Earth was created, I mentioned this, that which does not promote humanity is under alien influence. Power. And being in alignment is power. Creates amazing breakthroughs, which creates absolute connection to the source of love, creation itself. Shanya Murdy is going to unpeel this spiritual banana for the monkey in just a little bit. 4 things you can never change. You exist. All is one, one is all. What you put out, you get back. The only thing you can never change is change itself. Hello, Timmy. Tonight is center of light visibility. Can you see? Oh, say, can you see? Can you see? Do you see? Truly, I'm asking. It's rhetorical. You can answer if you like. Do you see what's going on? There's a lot going on. The earth has been infiltrated with horse shit and nonsense, and they look like people from scripture. Don't take it out of context. You can, doesn't matter to me. But they look like the person in front of you at the bank, the person behind you at the checkout in the grocery store. They look just like you when you look in the mirror. You are under the governing influence of a psychic barrier. There is a psychic barrier. It's called the veil. And to no avail, it seems we have tried and tried and tried to bore our way through the veil. But to no avail, it doesn't work. Because it's not a boring of anything. It's an allowing of everything. And then simply, we lift our energies to the light level and we move easily, effortlessly through the density of the veil itself, leaving behind the fears, the tears, and sometimes the deers, the people that we care about. But this is about your expansion and evolution, resolution, and revolution. Stand the fuck up and see. Open your eyes. See what's happening. You are being invaded. You have been invaded. But the devil always makes a final appearance before God anchors itself within all of us, just to see if we are done with him before it releases our consciousness back to the divine. Do you understand? The devil showed up for Jesus in the desert. The devil showed up for Jesus, for Buddha under the Bodhi tree. And Buddha says, as the earth as my witness, you are not real. And then the devil dissipated, the opposite reflection of the Buddha himself, the opposite reflection of Neo, Agent Smith itself. It disappeared, and then he became illumined. And the first thing the Buddha did under the Bodhi tree was eat some oranges and drink some water. Visibility. It requires one to want to see what's happening and take full responsibility. I know responsibility can be tough, gruff and rough, but it's enough for me to take full responsibility so that I am the one that ensures I never walk into a wasp's or snake's nest ever again. Empowerment is everything. Empowerment is how we all win. Again, tonight is Center of Light Visibility. Open your eyes. The world is being invaded. It's going to get stanky and danky here in just a little bit. Center of Light song break. Going to be right back for Scene 2. Stick around.
one of 100 million pieces, making one of each and every heart, giving one love like you really mean it, seeing one in each other every day. Loving one is how to get to heaven. Sharing one, the love that you are. Hearing one, that little voice inside. Being one with all the people. Teaching one all the children about love. Finding one your own peaceful heart. Causing one to feel peace too. And that's the way. And that's the way to be one. Being one that lives to make a difference. Caring for one who really needs a friend. Opening one to truth that they see it. Lifting one to dwell in the kingdom. Dwell in the kingdom. Sending one only thoughts of happiness. Receiving one love that's your gift. Think as one ends the separation. Being one saves the world. Teaching one all the children about love. Finding one your own peaceful heart. Causing one to feel peace too. And that's the way. Teaching one all the children about love. Finding one your own peaceful heart. Cause the world to feel peace too. And that's the way. And that's the way to be one. To be one. To be one.
What the fuck? Obey, consume, do not. Can you see? If your name is Jose, Jose, can you see? By the light, by the dawn's early light, what's going on? Mother Earth and humanity is in a plight. Can you see? They live. Do you have any visibility because they live. You're being jacked with. You've been jacked with since you were born, even before you were born. So it's not a blaming of the they, it's about the reclaiming of the we as we move and ascend beyond the bullshit of the world. You see, we don't per se shift the world into a higher level. We shift ourselves into a higher level of the world in a parallel situation. So it's not about the blame, shame, or game. It's about using your own self, your own power in the Lord's name to rise through the veil, which is always going to be on this plateau. This earth is never going to change. Where you were pre-COVID, it didn't change. Well, it did, but it didn't change. We elevated through it. Some people didn't. Many loved ones didn't. They saw it as an exit and an entrance back into the divine. So the veil is always going to be on this plateau. Every day, vibrations happen. We shift, we lift, or we drift back to where we were. Depends on who you are. Hello, beautiful Lane. Tammy says, Archangel Lucifer lifted us through our devil minds and confused him as thy devil. Yeah, there's a lot of confusion around the name Lucifer. It's automatically, they give it relationship to Satan and Satanism, and it requires a lot of research so you can move through the influence of what's said, script, doctrines, myths, stories about all that. Tonight is Center of Light Visibility. Dear Lord, I hope you can see. They live, and they're everywhere. So near to you, in fact, you are one of them. You, not really, but mostly the we that we think we are, really, is not really at all. It's not who we are. Is scripture and politics, is demons from the past and aliens of today the same? And if so, who are we in all of the nonsense to create our future? Good question. So it's not about shame, blame, or game. It might be good to vent and you want to point finger for a little while. Go back to center. Find yourself, your real self. Don't splinter and become split in two like they want you to do, to create not only a war with others, but a war within yourself about said others. Keeps us busy-minded, monkey-minded, blaming other people who are not like us. Shun your murdy. He's going to call you something dirty. Demons from the past, aliens of the now, and where are we going in the future? Shun your murdy. Choose your future, divine or demons.
All the traditions are in agreement that we have three ranges on the spectrum of consciousness that are available to us. And that when we're fully charged, we are in our divine nature. In the first yuga of the cycle, all of us are in divine consciousness. That's what is called being an avatar. Nothing less than that. So understand that divine nature is a level of energy. Once we come into the cycle and we have a certain charge of energy, that's all we get. And that energy is going to go down. It doesn't go up, it goes down. And so in the second age, the Silver Age or Treta Yuga, we're in a semi-divine state, but we're already falling. And then by the time we get into the Dwapar Yuga, we have become humans, but a higher type of human. And then when we get into the end of Dwapar and the beginning of Kali Yuga, we are lower kinds of humans, but still human. And then as Kali Yuga ends, nearly everyone enters the demonic nature and loses the human qualities. And so because of that, it requires a very radical self-transformation to escape from the demonic state, which produces suffering, destruction, death, evil, all of that we are witnessing, and chaos on a physical as well as a social and political level. So the human is a hybrid. The ego partakes of subconsciously the demonic nature and superconsciously can touch into the divine nature. But as you fall more and more into the demonic state, the divine is inaccessible. And then one comes completely under the laws of karma, because there is no grace, no salvation, because the demonic nature has no love and is not able to receive love, divine love. And that cuts one off from being able to charge the battery. That's what has to happen. The battery is dead, literally, at the end of the Kali Yuga, and you've got to charge it. That's what we're here to do. That's what yoga is about. But to charge the battery, we have to connect to the source, and the demonic nature resists that connection because it's threatened by it. So the world is a war between gods and demons. And at the end of Kali Yuga, the demons have almost won. They don't even believe that there are any gods left who need to be defeated, because there aren't. But what there are former gods. There are those who remember somewhere deep down that you used to be in a higher state in another lifetime. You have that memory. And the more that you begin to meditate, the more the remembrance of that higher consciousness and the information it contains and the love and the light and the beauty begins to dawn again from within. And as it does, one is able to then make a connection to the source of the power that made you divine in the first place. It's not enough to remember being once divine. You have to connect with the power again to redivinize your consciousness. This is not about nostalgia or trying to have a past life experience. No, this is about becoming now again a divine being. But a demon cannot even entertain that thought for very long. And so we are reaching a point now at the end of Kali Yuga where everything is totally polarized. As below, so above, right? In the same way that humanity has now been split between the vaxxed and the unvaxxed, we are now split between those who are in the divine nature and those who are in the demonic. There are no more hybrids. There's no more neutrality. Okay, I'll listen to the angel, I'll listen to the devil, I'll make my decision. It won't work. The devil's got you. The moment you give up your divine nature, you're in the grip of the demonic force. So unless there's a total surrender and a total yearning for transcending the demonized human nature, with whatever margin of health, of sanity, of power, willpower one has left, one has to use it. So right now, everyone is torn between gnosis and psychosis. There isn't even neurosis anymore to kind of have as a middle ground. It's a psychotic world now. That's the norm. And so you are going to be in a psychotic state if you are not in the state of total, liberated, blissful consciousness. It really is that extreme, a polarization that is now occurring on this plane. And so the line has been drawn, and you have to decide which side of the line you're on. You can't be on the fence. There is no fence. And if you try to be in the middle and say, I'll just muddle through my human existence and try to enjoy things as much as possible, you'll be grabbed by the demonic force. So there's an urgency of making the choice. On what side are you? Do you belong to God or do you belong to the devil? It really is that clear and complete a choice. You can't be halfway. You can't be partially pregnant. You can't be partially vaccinated. You can't be partially demonic and partially divine. It doesn't work. That's the decision that has to be made at the outset to begin the journey as a Sat Yogi. If there isn't total determination, I'm choosing God and the divine nature, you won't have the willpower and the grace to escape from your own dark side, from those maras that we talked about, that are already in your mind, and they have usurped your mind, and they are causing you to commit bad karma and to be stupid and confused and not in your right mind, literally. So you either have to totally get out, and get out now without delay, or say, okay, I belong to the demons, and all that goes with that choice. So things are serious. Now Machik was faced with the same choice. And this was, back in 1100, and things were already bad enough that she had to make great efforts to defeat her own maras. And this woman was a child prodigy. She was extraordinarily intelligent, so intelligent that she was invited into the monasteries to memorize all the sacred texts, the Pragya Paramita, these huge sutras of thousands and thousands of lines. She memorized them better than any of the monks. And the head of the monastery would hold competitions, and all of these old monks would try to repeat it, and she would be able to do so much faster, so much better than they would. They'd make mistakes, she'd correct them. She was like a 5-year-old girl, and these guys could not keep up with her. So because of that, she was put in advanced training, okay? And in that advanced training, she had tutoring by some very powerful and advanced lamas. So she got a lot of help, but that help that came was the result of her own good karma to have that intelligence and have that ability to use it in service of spiritual development. And what happened was a relationship became developed between her and the Ishta Devi of Tibet, who is named Tara. Tara is the great goddess who is the protectress of Tibetan spirituality. And Tara took Machik under her wing. And she began to have visions of Tara, and then at one stage there was a total encounter. Tara actually appeared and taught her tremendous amounts of very secret information. Some of it is actually in this book, but you have to be very subtle to even understand what Tara is saying, but I would like to go into some of that with you. And she eventually, of course, realized that not only is she a protege of the goddess Tara, but she actually is an avatar, an embodiment. But she wasn't allowed to know that until she had gone through all the different rites of passage, all the ordeals of struggle to conquer the Maras without that knowledge. In other words, she was emptied out. It was an act of kenosis in the same way that Christians talk about with Jesus. He emptied himself out of all that was powerful and divine that could have, destroyed the demons. And he acted as a simple human being who had to fast for 40 days, and he had to go through all of the same ordeal and be baptized, by John the Baptist. He had to go through all of that. So it doesn't matter that you have a divine nature, it's emptied out. If you want to refill it, you have to make effort now that will attract the Ishtadevta, your own divine nature, whether it's Tara or it's Vishnu or it's Shiva or it's another, but you will get the grace of that being that you are drawn to, that expresses your archetypal nature, if you have totally given yourself to the quest of knowing who you really are. And by that I mean who you are before you were born. As Christ once was asked who he was, and he said, well, before Abraham was, I am, right? So he wasn't talking about Jesus, the man. He was talking about Christ consciousness, which is the same as Buddha consciousness. There's no difference. There's just a terminological shift. So one of the first things that the goddess Tara teaches
Welcome back to Center of Light. Tonight we're getting in the fight, but from a peaceful space. Utmost importance. You don't fight anything. You sit back and let the fight happen and watch it, because karmically, those who are fighting are due to fight. You step in when it's time to use some tincture on the bruises and the wounds from said brawl. But don't engage so much that you yourself fall and bring yourself back down to a crawl. It's where you have to learn to walk all over again. As Shunya Murti said in his presentation just a moment ago, Jesus, he emptied himself out. He could have destroyed the demons, but he didn't, because that's not God. God does not destroy anything. Karma does. That's karma's job. Jesus emptied himself out, and in so doing, he rose as the light through the veil to the light, through the veil of consciousness. It's not about fighting. It's about igniting the fire within yourself that moves you through the veil itself that will forever be here. It's for those who have enough tears to want to elevate to something different. There is no other way. You can hold on to your dogma, your scripture, your religion, your beliefs, whatever that is, and no matter who you are. But there is nothing to believe in except yourself. Can you imagine that? You are so precious as a child of the living light that there is nothing to believe in to achieve everything except believing in yourself. But when you get to know thyself through the veil, eloquently, you move back to the space of homecoming, unity with your divine parent. That should be apparent to all of us. But more so than not, it isn't. We get caught in the drama of the world. Because I tell you, there's a psychic barrier from those in power. And I don't mean real power, illusory power. We bought into the disillusionary power. Minute by minute, hour by hour. It's time for us to tower up in spirituality and see things as they really are. So how are they really? Fantastic question. I'm glad you asked. I never thought you would. Are demons from the past aliens from the present? As I said earlier, if Earth was created for the prophecy of heaven on earth, which is now, are you looking at the prophecy or are you looking at the apocalypse? Big question. Are you choosing the divine or the demonic? Ironic. We're human. We love fun until it's not fun anymore. And now we look to land upon a peaceful shore. This is how you do it. I'll always leave in my presentation solutions. Round 2, Shunyamurti, solution. And then after Shunyamurti, I'm going to come back and give some resolution as we stand in this revolution for our evolution to bridge scripture demons to present day political, alien influential beings. Political. Shunyamurti, round 2. Overcoming dark forces. So it's not about blasting in the sky. It's about everlasting. Why? Because that's the way of it. Push has come to shove it. You want demons, aliens, or the divine and higher level extraterrestrials. It's really up to all of us. Shunyamurti, overcoming dark forces.
Meditation's purpose is to enable you to sit on the lotus throne, the Sri Nalinasana. The Buddhists speak of it very clearly and yet indistinctly because they refer to Om Mani Padme Hum, the diamond in the lotus. But where is the lotus? What is the location of the lotus throne? How do you get there? It is only through silence, wakeful, devoted silence, silence surrendered to ultimate reality, that enables the accumulation of spiritual energy that raises the vibrational frequency that brings you to chakra 7, the 1,000-petaled lotus, Sahasrara chakra. That is the lotus throne. Don't settle for any lesser lotus to sit upon. And so when chakra 7 opens and the 1,000-petaled lotus releases its radiance, its splendor, its power, its glory, then the diamond of the purified consciousness is filled with the supreme light. And their consciousness abides in the world, but no longer of it. It is from this lotus throne which is the portal to the Absolute, that supreme light can now flow freely through all 7 bodies. So sitting on the throne is not the end, it's the beginning. And the next phase then is to bring the light back down into the bliss body, the command center, into the wisdom body, into the mind, the mental, the heart, and then into the lower chakras, sublimating them, turning them. And as the force of the power of light completely enters into the grossest material level of reality, that level is transformed, transmuted through the vibrational frequency that awakens the elements of matter at a quantum level and shifts the quantum wave function. The energy then will emit photons, biophotons that will create an aura. The electromagnetic energy of the prana will completely fill and heal the body, and the energies will transmit and emanate outward into an infinite field of presence. The goal of meditation is not to leave the world behind, but to come into the real and then to return to the unreal world and bring the real into it. But this cannot be sustained. The stability of the lotus throne is not complete, because there are still traces of sanskaras, of attachment to the phenomenal plane. One is not of the world, but one is still in the world. One still has a body. One still functions. And this creates the last weak but sufficiently strong bonds to hold the consciousness within that realm that keeps it from the absolute liberation. There is grace, there is power, there is compassion, the bodhicitta is released, the power of redemption is given, but it is not yet attained fully until one moves from the lotus throne to yet a second throne, the final throne. The final throne abides beyond the diaphanon, in that ultimate and absolute non-duality in which there is no world, no time or space. And the play of Maya, that is a flux and a mirage, no longer even appears. It is this absolute at the very core and heart of God consciousness that is the final throne that must be attained to stabilize the lotus throne and enable the energies of the absolute to cross the diaphanon from the noumenal into the phenomenal. And this requires going even beyond absolute silence, in the sense that there is no longer anyone being silent. There is only the absolute nothingness, but the nothingness that gives birth to all. All comes out of the silence, the emptiness, the absolute potentiality of all possible worlds and every form of beauty and goodness. And at the end, these two thrones become one. The Satyogi is one who learns never to leave the throne, the combined form throne of Shiva and Shakti. And these thrones can only be attained when there is no further desire for the enjoyment of the mirage, the phenomenal world, and no further identification with any character within that play. The true empowerment comes from liberation from all identity structures. And the refusal to interrupt the connection with the flow of Shakti that comes through the silence. The absolute silence is the carrier wave of the Supreme Shakti. And it is this that fills the space of consciousness with supreme light. And that light dissolves all structures of symbolic patterning, so that the structures of the world, kept as a standing wave which stagnates the quantum wave function, is released, and the dream can be redreamed. It is the only way to achieve liberation. It requires the absolute annihilation of all identity, of all desire, of all fear, of all fantasy, of all forms of love that are not the supreme love. And through the gaining of that supreme love, the most powerful and healing, compassionate love for all beings is given, and life can be lived without need, with an overflow of that power of goodness and light that can heal all of those others whom your ego had cared for but could not help. But until there has been a purification that removes all taint of envy. Envy is at the core of the ego. It is the mind parasite that destroys one's happiness. The envious ego wants what it does not have, what it projects others as having, and it eats away at its peace. And it creates hatred and anger and greed and attachment and arrogance and all of the other pathological vices. And what it is envious of is its own real self that it has rejected. It's envious of that ability to transcend the false that it has thrown away out of addiction to the enjoyment of that false world, and prevents it from returning to the real. That envy that comes with an inferiority complex, always compensated by a superiority complex, keeps the mind trapped in a duality that it is helpless to overcome from within its own frame of reference, in which lack feels all too real. But this lack is the waste product created by its own dream function. Its own dream function that turned into the desire for what was dreamed, which then trapped one within the dream matrix. And in that trap, the doorway to liberation was lost. It is only through the silence of surrender to the God Self that the portal will open again, and the way to freedom will appear and be traversable through the waves of silence that guide the attention unerringly back to the lotus throne and then to the source of all.
Welcome back to Center of Light. Tonight is Center of Light Visibility. Can you see? Jose, oh say, can you see? By the dawn, the new morning, rebirths, early light, that no fuck about it, they live. It's backwards. They live. And it looks just like you. We're all under the governing influence. Shunya Murdy, hello Karen Cox. Good night, Mary. Shunya Murdy, basically to summarize my thoughts about what he just shared, is that the mind is a monkey. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ooh, 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 ooh. We get caught in the loop of the monkey, always wanting us something, so much so at the expense of other people. The they live, they know exactly what to do to monkey with your mind, to keep you trapped, keep us trapped. Remember, as I said earlier, there is a veil. We know this from scripture, New Age, if you will, spirituality. There's a veil. There's something that stops us from seeing the realization of our divine parent. The veil. They know how to play with the veil so much. To no avail how much we try, we die trying. And in our dying, we're not supplying anything to the benefit of the all. We just leave the world in regret, fear, guilt, shame, anger, remorse, whatever. Of course, whatever. So now we're going to move into the final segment of how we're going to bridge, think about it. From the days of old, from the days of yore, folklore, myth, mythology, scriptural, truth, analogously, back when, we need to update the situate. Was many years ago, 2,000 of them, give or take. It was called something. It was called demons. But it is an alien race or an alien influence that wants to steal, which it can't, your soul. Your soul cannot be stolen. Your soul belongs to God. In fact, your soul is God. So it's the mind that pays the price. From Homecoming Crossing, The Bridge to the Soul, my most recent bestseller, in this forum somewhere. You can find the link to Amazon. Purchase it. Leave me a review. My dialogue with Spirit many years ago. Here we go. Before I get into my dialogue with Spirit, I want to say that the clearer we see this for what it is, the old, outdated scripture versus the new awareness we have in 2022 and a half, the sooner we can clear ourselves of the self-induced, ongoing karmic nonsense. New perception equals new outcome. Spirit begins. The clearer everyone gets, the more effective you will become at removing your parasitic energy, because you will be using your own God-given power to correct the seemingly irreversible damage that they have done. This was 1997. It so relates to now. Beyond. Everyone must change from poverty thinking, blaming the system, the politics, the parlor tricks. Everyone must change their perception from poverty thinking to prosperity thinking. When that happens, you will reach another level, and each of you will become a channel for abundance to return, radiate outward, and help heal the planet. Not only the planet, we are the planet. We are on it. The planet, humanity. Once everyone begins to look upon me as the infinite repository of wisdom and wealth, the world's spiritual resolution evolution will begin, and your lack will end. As you may have noticed, I got something for you that's going to blow you away, that's going to tie the days of yore, 1997, at least for me when this all started, to now. As many of you have noticed, many things are also going on in the political arena. True leaders are rising and making changes, while deceitful leaders are falling fast and hard. I asked the question in meditation, what are your thoughts about our voting process? Spirit responds, understand that if someone in power leads by using manipulation and untruths, he or she is treading on thin ice. When you vote for that leader, all of we are skating on the same thin ice. I am aware that you've blindly elected some into office only to be shocked at what they have done or not done after their seat of powerful manipulation became a comfortable one. This is why Spirit speaking, this is why I continue to expose your leaders' ill-advised agendas, so that you can get the bad ones out and thus avoid the karma you would be destined for if they remained in power. Know that I do support the notion of leadership, But from what I've seen thus far, the track records of many of those whom you have elected have been poor. Yes, there have been moments in history when true leaders have appeared. Jesus, Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, and the like, give or take. But just as they were on their way to making positive changes, they were assassinated, leaving their visions to die on the vine. Oh my God. My question to all of you is, will you continue to follow leaders who care only about themselves, or will you accept capital leadership from the one who cares only about the welfare of humanity? And I say, please tell me how we can make this happen. First, do not allow what has been taking place to continue. Exclamation point. It is your divine birthright to rise up against any leadership if it does not set you on a course towards a transcendent consciousness. This may sound like I am supporting rebellion, but that is not entirely true, because I do not support the upheaval and anarchy. But I do support your doing whatever it takes to uproot any and all weeds that can stifle the potential of your Eden, as in garden, as in my son, Eden Scott. Second, when you seek leaders, make sure and certain they have a divine calling and are not someone you vote for just because they seem to be the best one running. Unlike your leaders of your present system, divine leaders will not even hint to you that they are the ones in charge. They will govern righteously and be of service to all. Third, make certain your chosen leaders have a direct connection to the vine, so that in any situation they can move to the good by praying to God, what do I do in this situation? If you're not choosing leaders with these qualifications, why do you bother to vote? Joe Schruger says it's impossible to have midterm elections in 2022. Let me ask that question again by Spirit. As we vote for those who we think are the best ones running, Spirit says, or ask, if you are not choosing leaders with the qualifications mentioned before, why do you even bother to vote? And I say ignorantly, or little puppy dog willing to learn, tail wagging, to try to make some kind of difference. And Spirit says, Psst. I will let you in on a little secret, Keith. Sometimes your votes are not even a factor. Many will try to convince you that the election process is a legitimate one. 1997, this was vesseled. But do not be fooled. Election results are often determined long before you step in the voting booth. I took on much ridicule for this. Happy to do so. Some may dispute this, but there is no point. What do you think happened in your 2000 year presidential election? Bush number 2. And I say I'm not really sure, because I was not really sure. That unwieldy political fiasco came to light when the divine Spirit intervened and exposed it. And I asked the question, so why are we even allowed to vote if one candidate is going to win regardless of who we choose? Good question. Those in the system who want to keep you believing, those in the system want you to keep believing that you have a say in the matter. In 2000, they used the ploy of the ballot foul-up to convince you that you count. Not only that you count as in you matter, because you count, as in you count on a calculator, as if you count. It's a double entendre. But even though the election mess provided both an excuse and a diversion, it did not dull citizen awareness because people were able to see. I got one that can see. Because people were able to see clearly that something was amiss. I say, since so many of us will be paying closer attention to the voting process from now on, hello 2022, it will probably be much harder for anyone to make such questionable moves. If they try, they will be stopped, and that will open the door for a divine leader to walk through. Keep in mind what I said earlier. Your present legislature's branch will collapse, and it will take many years to rebuild. Because of this restoration process, many old guard politicians will be forced out. Hello 2022. Your new lawmakers will not make law per se, but rather will introduce you to divine law and teach you how to fall into flow with it. Remember, too, that establishment of divine order is commencing as I speak. That said, it will not do anyone any good to be angry or judgmental about what has happened or even what may happen. 1997. Do not harden your hearts to the point that you do not trust any worthy ones who may enter the political arena. If you look to any of them, they, with the intention of finding fault, that will be your own fault. On the other hand, if you forgive both them and yourselves for whatever you perceive as your shortcomings, you will see that it is my intervention that enabled you to elect and select and accept new leadership and guidance. Here we go. I asked the question, so what can we do to speed things up even more? And Spirit responds, change your logic. Most believe if they vote for the least bad one, that will keep the worst one out. This reasoning will never work because even if you vote for the quote better, or shall I say, the one not as bad, you are still helping a controlling system stay alive. Here is what you can do. You can simply choose not to vote unless and until there are worthy ones to vote for. You do not need to buy into a bad system that depends on you to stay afloat. And I respond by asking this question. And if no one votes, someone will step up anyway to be a mouthpiece for power. It's getting stupid. Hello, John. What I just posted was a link. Watch it later. Watch the whole thing. It's however many minutes, 10 whatever minutes. But at the 3-minute, 30-second mark, I'm not going to mention his name. I'm not judging the man. The president of a country. He's not here. Or wherever he is to be the president of whatever country. He is not present. 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Don't go into it, judge, blame, and game and shame. Doesn't go anywhere. Just become aware that someone will step up as a mouthpiece for power. It just so happens in this second, this minute, and this hour, the person that has stepped up as the mouthpiece for power cannot even mouth anything. He's completely gone. What this reveals is the puppeteer's arm up someone's unconscious ass, who is so unconscious, the being is not even present. So what's happening behind the scenes? Oz, the Wizard of Oz, behind the scenes, the man behind the curtain. Make sure you're certain that you are awake. For goodness sake, do whatever it takes to open your eyes. Eventually, all said unconsciousness will come back around. You want to elevate as much as you can this time around. Here we go. Final segment. Tonight is Center of Light. Visibility. It's all visible if you choose to open your mind, which will open your eyes, and then it will open your heart. There is no other place to start. Joe Sugar says exactly what I said earlier. Two-party system is pitted against each other. Did they speak of three-party? Right. Exactly. How do you invade a world? You don't show up blasting in the skies. It will unite the very world you're trying to invade, and they will blast back. You pit the system against each other and let them deteriorate, while they just sit back and watch it like a reality series. Now it's reality, and it's very seriously. In closing, from homecoming, crossing the bridge to the soul, my dialogue with spirit many years ago. Someone will step up anyway to be the mouthpiece for power. And I asked the question, how many people are actually in control, and what is it they really want? Good question. There are only a few, and what they want most is what no one else has. And I ask, what would that be? Something beyond money, oil, property, or power that they already have. What they want is galactic power. Keith, I know you've seen the first movie, Indiana Jones, and I'm here to tell you that its story is not that far removed from what is taking place now. And I say, or ask, really? How so? As the movie depicts, the quest for power reaches far beyond Earth, and they want that not through you, but through your children. Are you listening? As the movie depicts, the quest for power reaches far beyond Earth, and there are those few who will stop at nothing to get their hands on it. So, to keep such a thing from happening, as it did in the movie Indiana Jones, the Spirit of God is constantly moving in cycles and staying ever vigilant. Again, I ask this question. Why do you all put so much faith and energy into a system that binds you? And I respond by saying, I don't know what to say, except that's what we've always done. Besides, there are many who say that we still have a pretty good government. Oh, my dear Lord. You are missing the point, Keith. Why do you need someone else to control you? Can you not control yourselves? Ah, I see what you mean. There are many who say that they love their government and country, even though they harbor past life memories of those they loved being persecuted by one power establishment or another. They may not realize it yet, but deep in their hearts, they too desire dramatic change. Hello, 2022 and a half. Yes, in times past, power junkies engaged in all sorts of atrocities. They've succeeded in putting an end to nations, exterminating races of people, and murdering countless individuals. They crucified Jesus, assassinated Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, Lincoln, and stomped out the fire of many of others who were trying to build a better world. To all of you, do the research and confirm for yourself what it is that the few in power are still seeking, that, if found, will enable them to govern the destiny of the whole world. When you do, I hope you're sitting down, because what you will be revealed to you may knock you for a loop. And I say, sounds very interesting. So it is, my friend. And when you source this out, Spirit speaking, I will lead you to the knowledge that best serves you. As I said before, not everyone in positions of power wants more of it or cares for the struggle for it. And any member of the clergy or any political person who operates from a selfless heart serves me sincerely. Announcement. My children of divine light, I know that you believe in God, but if you want me to help you shape the world into something worth living in, it is not enough to simply believe in me. You must know me as I know you, and know that I am ready to do what I have always done. Work through ordinary people just like you, who are making themselves available to anchor the divine principle. Tonight has been Center of Light visibility. Do you see that the earth and humanity has been manipulated, jacked by an alien consciousness, an alien race of being that is, through their levels of intelligences, can say, you're not going to see past this point. And it requires all of us at this point to have a shot, smoke a joint, do whatever it takes in meditation to remove the veil by simply lifting through it. You will not exorcise, per se, the demons from this world. But you can exercise and lift yourself into the higher world. There is no way about it. There is nothing else. The world will transcend when you transcend your world through the vibration that you simply have been trapped in. This playground will always be here. This playground will always be here. The eternal playground is forever. It is always here. Look into the religious, social, political arena. Democrat, Republican, left or right, demon, angel. When one begins to yak in your ear, so does the other. They're both nonsense. Who is this being that has this body that allows to sit a demon and the divine, or so said divine? I tell you, it's the mind. You, the beautiful essence of you, is none of that. In fact, what you really are is nothing. And it's so because you are everything. Rise above the polluted cesspool of the alien invasion. This world has been influenced by another consciousness that absolutely has you not in mind. Peace, love, and find yourself in the truth. I'll see you on the other side.